All right. Well, officially, good evening, leaders, visionaries, and change agents. It is with great excitement and deep gratitude that I welcome you to tonight's edition of the Unfolding Capacity Leadership Masterclass, a space where purpose meets potential, where we gather not just to learn, but to transform. Each session we host is more than a meeting, it's a movement of people committed to rising higher, leading better, and building something that lasts. And tonight we lean into one of the most critical themes of our time, and that is designing high performing teams. Because let's be honest, in today's fast paced, ever evolving world, strategy alone is not enough. The future belongs to teams that are aligned, empowered, and driven by a shared purpose. The future belongs to leaders who know how to build those teams. And so we are thrilled to be joined tonight by someone who doesn't just speak about leadership, he lives it. A man whose life's work has helped individuals, organizations, and businesses move from surviving to thriving. Eberhard Niklaus is a coach, a business leader, an author, and above all, a cultivator of people. With over 26 years of hands on experience in the franchise, coaching, and business development space, he brings a rare combination of wisdom, practical tools, and deep empathy. Tonight is going to guide us on how to build teams that don't burn out, but break through. Teams that don't compete with each other, but complete each other. Teams that don't just meet the goal, they multiply impact. So, as we begin, I would like to invite you to open your mind, to lean in with your heart as a leader, and prepare to both be challenged and inspired. Because leadership is not about a title, it's actually about transformation. And that transformation starts right here, right now, with you, fellow leader. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders of all types, welcome to the Unfolding Capacity Leadership Masterclass. Let us unfold greatness together. With just that, I'd like to welcome all of you and say to our guest, Eberhard, Mr. Niklaus, please feel free to share your heart with us tonight on leading and developing teams that are high performing. Over to you, sir.
Thank you for that heartfelt, warm introduction, Amazement. I just want to ask you, before I attempt to share, have you made me a co-host so that I can share? Oh, there we go. Thank you. So, welcome to our discussion tonight on designing high-performing teams. Just perhaps a little bit of background about myself. Um, I I started off my career in sales. I was in sales for more than 10 years, where I developed a passion for selling, to the extent that one of my bucket list items was to write a book. And so, because of my passion for selling, I then decided to write a book about sales, and that book is available on Amazon. I've also I've also published a short ebook, which is available on our website, which I will share with you at the end of the presentation as a free download. Then I became involved in the National Franchise Organization. I was involved with them for 27 years. And during that time, I worked with over 60 franchisees nationally to help them to make a success of their businesses. Uh, that involved also helping them with their sales and their marketing, as well as other soft skills that were important in making a success of their business. And then about 10 years ago, I discussed an exit strategy with my partners because I felt like a new challenge. to go out on my own and to do what I loved doing, and that was sales training, and also in other ways to help people to develop themselves and to perform at their best. And at that time, I also was introduced to Gallup. I'll share a little bit more with you about Gallup shortly, but I fell in love with their research, with their tools and their resources for helping managers, uh, leaders, individuals, and teams to perform at their peak. So I basically, for the last 10 years, been on my own, doing sales training and strengths-based development. And then last year, I was approached by somebody that I've known for over 40 years. Um, he he has successfully developed about 14 big office parks in Centurion, where he's got almost 500 tenants with 6,000 employees. And he approached me last year because he's known me for over 40 years. And he said to me, he's got an idea to start a training company. And because he knows I operate in that space of sales training and business coaching, would I like to head up the company for him? So, yes, in January this year, we launched the company. It's called the Success Academy Business School. And what I did is the work I've been doing up until now, I brought into the company, and we're going to now just expand and build on that. So, let's talk about what is it that makes people perform at their peak? What is it that makes teams become a high performing team? A gentleman by the name of Don Clifton asked an intriguing question. What will happen when we think about what is right with people rather than fixating on what is wrong with them? And he started doing research, and later he formed a company called Gallup, and they started doing research into understanding what is it that makes people perform at their peak. What is it that helps individuals to accelerate success? Um, and in a nutshell, their research showed that when people know and understand their own individual talents and strengths and have opportunity to work with them every day, that is their greatest opportunity for maximizing performance, for excelling, for accelerating success. The other interesting thing that came out of the research is that you can't fix a weakness. With a lot of time and effort, you might take a weakness from 2 out of 10 to 4, 5, maybe 6 out of 10, but seldom do you excel at something you're not naturally talented at. And yet, most people are trying to fix what's wrong with them rather than appreciate and focus on their strengths. So, Gallup's research suggests that what we should do is manage our weaknesses, but operate in our strength zone, build on what we're already naturally talented at, our strengths. And the research shows that people who focus on using their strengths increase productivity by almost 8% and profitability by almost 9%. So I'm going to quickly show you a short video just to introduce you to Gallup's concept of strengths-based development, and then we'll continue our discussion.
Why do you make the choices you do? Do you ever wonder why some things come naturally while others don't? Why you're drawn to certain activities and not to others? There's a simple but powerful reason: your talents. When you understand your unique talents and develop them into strengths, your whole world can change. But we often take our most powerful talents for granted, or we may not even be aware of them. That's why Gallup developed the Clifton Strengths Assessment, to help you discover your areas of greatest potential. The Clifton Strengths Assessment is grounded in more than 5 decades of research. It is an invaluable tool designed to help you identify and apply your talents and strengths for greater performance, happiness, and success. After completing the assessment, you'll receive a personalized report with your strengths profile and action ideas designed to help you unlock your innate potential. potential. Performing at your best is easier than you may think. When you approach your work, relationships, and community with your unique talents and strengths in mind, success follows. What are you waiting for? Unlock your potential today with Clifton Strengths and transform your world.
So, in summary, their research shows that the key to success is to know your own unique individual talents and strengths, but also how to productively apply them in addressing challenges and reaching your goals. The research shows that people who focus on using their strengths are 3 times as likely to report having an excellent quality of life and 6 times as likely to be engaged in their jobs. Now, as managers and leaders, most of you are very aware of the importance of employee engagement, especially when it comes to having high-performing teams. So we're going to be referring a little bit more to employee engagement in our discussions just now. But just for now, I thought I'd like to share with you an interesting description or definition I read once about what is an engaged employee. And it went like this. An engaged employee is someone who wakes up in the morning and looks forward to going to work. Imagine if a manager has a team where everybody on the team wakes up in the morning and looks forward to going to work. That would certainly be a reflection on the manager, that he's doing a great job as a manager and that he's got his team engaged, and specifically because he's helping them to work in their strength zone. People working in the strength zone, they look forward to going to work. They have more positive than negative interactions with co-workers. They treat customers better. They tell their friends they work for a great company. They achieve more on a daily basis, and they have more positive, creative, and innovative moments. So if the key to success, if the key to maximizing performance is knowing your talents and being able to use them every day in your role, how do we know what our talents are? So Gallup have designed an online assessment that scientifically measures talent in a person. The previous video already alluded to that assessment, but this video will delve a little bit deeper into how this assessment scientifically measures the presence of talent.
Is zillion a real number? No, zillion's not a real number, but it is a word you might be tempted to use to describe all of the talents found in people. Creating a list of every talent is an impossible task. But if you step back, you'll see that talents have commonalities that allow us to group them into themes. Some talents, like a natural ability to share thoughts, create engaging stories, and find the perfect word, relate directly to communication. That's what they have in common, a shared theme based on communication. So to begin thinking and talking about them, we can call them communication talents. Your distinct Clifton Strengths 34 profile sets you apart from everyone else. Your Clifton Strengths 34 profile is your talent DNA in rank order based on your responses to the Clifton Strengths assessment. The Clifton Strengths at the top of your profile are the most powerful. Similar to your fingerprint, these themes represent how you are uniquely talented. There are nearly 34 million possible combinations of top 5 themes. You heard right, nearly 34 million. Start with your top 5. Develop these Clifton Strengths to make the most of your profile and maximize your potential. Your greatest chance to succeed at work or anywhere else lies in strengthening what you naturally do best and doing more of it. Try this. First, name it. Carefully read the descriptions of each of your top 5 Clifton Strengths themes. and identify parts of the theme descriptions that are undeniably you. Try to describe a recent situation when you used each theme. Next, claim it. Reflect on who you are. Think about your experiences, your motivations, how you see yourself. Then, consider how your strongest Clifton strengths shape you, what you do, how you do it, and why. Share your report with people close to you. Ask for their reaction. Then, aim it. Post your top 5 themes from page 22 of your Clifton Strengths 34 report in a place where you'll see them every day. Start with the suggestions for action in the report. Then, try to find more ways to use your strongest Clifton strengths in your daily activities. Your talents are an instinctive source of wisdom and power. And as you start to intentionally use your most dominant Clifton Strengths themes, you'll find ways to build on your greatest areas of potential. You have dynamic talents, just waiting to be unlocked and developed. Use your report to name, claim, and aim your most dominant Clifton Strengths themes.
So I'm not sure if you picked up some of those statistics in that video showing how unique we all are. Did you remember that statistic? The chances of somebody having the same top 5 strengths as you in the same sequence is 1 in 34 million. In fact, the chances of somebody having the same top 5 strengths as you in any order is 1 in 275,000. It shows you how unique we are as individuals when it comes to our talent DNA. It's almost like a unique fingerprint. So you've been hearing me talking interchangeably about 2 words, namely talents and strengths. Is there a difference between our talents and our strengths? And the answer is yes. Gallup identified, or rather they defined a talent as a natural recurring pattern of thought, feeling, and behavior. But a talent has to be developed into a strength. It's much like a muscle. If you think of our talents like a muscle, for a muscle to be strong, we have to exercise it, we have to use it often and regularly. So to nurture and develop a talent into a strength, we have to invest time. Time spent developing the skills related to that talent, building our knowledge base, and over time, that talent becomes a powerful strength, which Gallup defines as the ability to consistently provide near perfect performance in a role. So we know that in today's fast-paced and complex business environment, unlocking the full potential of teams is critical for sustained success. And one of the most effective ways to achieve this is by leveraging the unique strengths of each team member. Strengths-based team development not only maximizes individual contributions, but also fosters innovation and boosts engagement, creating a powerful engine for organizational growth. Strengths-based development therefore begins with understanding and appreciating what each person naturally does best. When team members are aware of their own talents and those of their colleagues, they can align tasks and responsibilities more effectively. This clarity helps teams move beyond biases and personality differences to focus on the unique value of each individual and what they bring to the table. Gallup research shows that teams who know and use their strengths daily experience significantly higher engagement and performance. When team roles and projects are aligned with individual strengths, people perform at their best. In fact, research indicates that teams with high diversity in strengths who allocate tasks accordingly see better individual and team performance. So, for example, pairing someone with strong strategic thinking with a colleague who excels in execution can create a balanced and effective workflow. Strengths-based teams also exhibit higher productivity. A case study from a warehouse showed a 6% increase in per-person productivity within a year of implementing strengths-based development, with some teams achieving a 9% increase in just 6 months. this demonstrates how focusing on what employees do best drives tangible business results. As we mentioned earlier, employee engagement is also a key driver of team success, and strengths-based development significantly enhances it. Employees who use their strengths daily are more motivated, satisfied, and committed to their work. Gallup's data reveals that teams focusing on strengths experience 9 to 15% higher engagement and substantially lower turnover rates. A strengths-based culture meets fundamental human needs to both fit in and stand out by valuing each person's unique contribution. And it's this sense of belonging and recognition that improves morale and reduces costly employee churn. I thought I'll just share with you a story of a team I worked with probably 7, 8 years ago to illustrate some of these benefits that I've been talking to you about now. So the MD of this company, the head office was based in Johannesburg, and he asked me to go down to the Cape Town branch where they had recently merged 3 teams into one. And at the time, there was a lot of unhappiness and challenges that the team was facing since they had become merged. So I first flew down to Cape Town to just interview each of the team members, just so that I could understand the challenges, try and identify common threads running through the team in terms of the challenges. And to be honest, when I was flying back after 2 days of interviewing everybody, I thought to myself, Eberhard, I don't know if there's any hope for this team. The backstabbing, the lack of trust, the lack of communication, the lack of transparency, the hidden agendas, it was scary. Anyway, it was kind of like in my early days of doing Gallup strengths-based development. So I went ahead and I flew down 4 times to do team sessions with the team. And at the end of those 4 team sessions, where we went on a strengths-based journey, the manager of that team, she came to me and she said to me that one of the biggest benefits that she enjoyed from the strengths-based development program that we did was that it gave the team a platform where for the first time they could openly and in a safe, psychologically safe environment communicate about things they'd never had an opportunity to communicate about before. And this really brought the team together at address those challenges of hidden agendas and lack of transparency and so forth. And the MD of the company, he flew down a week after I've completed the sessions with the team. And he actually phoned me and said he cannot believe the U-turn that this team made, that they were now like a flock of geese flying information, all on the same page, as it were, working towards the common goal of the team, collaborating, trust, engagement, and so forth. So if anything, that experience taught me how powerful Gallup's strengths-based development program can be for teams. Gallup have so they've identified 34 talents or talent themes or strengths that can exist in people. And when you do your assessment, it measures the presence of these strengths in you and gives you your rank list from number 1 to 34. They've taken those 34 strengths and they've also divided them into 4 domains of team strengths, as you can see here. The first domain is executing, with its themes, and people who are dominant in this domain, they know how to make things happen. People who dominate with their strengths in the influencing domain, they know how to take charge, how to speak up and make sure the team is heard. People who dominate with their themes in relationship building domain, they have the ability to build strong relationships that can hold the team together and make the team greater than the sum of its parts. And then people who dominate the strategic thinking domain, they help the team consider what could be. They absorb and analyze information that can inform better decisions. Once we've got all the talents, the individual talents and strengths of a particular team, what we can then do is we plot it on what we call a team strengths grid. And as you can see on this slide, this is a typical team made up of 14 team members, where we've plotted their top 5 strengths on this grid. and also showing the 4 different domains. We could also do the top 10 strengths. We could do all 34, but it's usually good to start off by looking at the top 5 or the top 10 and then analyzing it, evaluating it, and understanding what is the team, the talent DNA of the team tell us about the team in terms of, if we, for example, look at this team strengths grid, you'll see that the executing domain is the strongest. It's got 30%. Relationship building is almost the same, 29%, followed by strategic thinking is 24%, and then the influencing domain, 17%. So once one looks at a team strengths grid, you can spend hours and you can, on an ongoing basis, use it to help you to answer questions and address strategies designed to help you to address challenges and to reach goals. You can explore challenges from the perspective of performance. You can ask, what are your team's current goals and challenges, and how can the team's strengths positively influence these goals and challenges? As one looks at it at the team strengths grid, you can try and ask yourself, what does it say about the team? What is our most dominant domain? And what's the least dominant domain? And how is the team currently maximizing their talents as a team? Whom could the team leverage to attack a specific team or goal challenge? Or where does the team see powerful partnerships? Which talents could the team lean into to help drive the team toward completing specific goals or overcoming challenges and so forth? So looking at this team grid, you can ask yourself, what does this tell us about how the team executes and builds relationships and strategizes and influences? And then it can help you to see, how can we use our combined individual talents as a team to aim them at the collective, or rather to aim them at the common goals and objectives of the team. Individual team members can also consider, where do they perhaps have gaps, and where do other team members have strengths where they've got gaps, and that they can possibly collaborate with them and partner with them in achieving their goals. So one can talk for hours about the team strengths grid and how to use it, but I just quickly wanted to show you what a powerful tool this is in helping teams to become high-performing teams. This is a team summary slide. We don't have time to discuss this at length, but just if you quickly look at the bottom, the top 5 strengths of the team, you'll see them there: futuristic, achiever, and so forth. So if you look at futuristic, it says as a team, because futuristic is one of our top strengths, as a team we bring previews, predictions, and forecasts. The next column, as a team we need opportunities to talk about the foreseen future. And the last column, as a team we are motivated by the inspiration that comes from dreaming. If you look at achiever, the next one, as a team we bring intensity and stamina of effort. As a team we need freedom to work at our own pace. As a team we are motivated by completing tasks. And so one can go on and look at the other strengths and see what it says about the team and what you do very well.
Some things just come easily for you, things that are second nature. They draw you to certain interests, people, and situations. They're behind your successes at work and in your personal life. Understanding your greatest talents is the first step toward a more productive, fulfilling life. When you read your Clifton Strengths 34 results, you'll notice that some Clifton Strengths themes are dominant for you, while others play a more supporting role. Your top 10 Clifton Strengths are important for your personal development. By nurturing them, you will pave the way for greater fulfillment and achievement. And by considering how you're already using these talents, you can discover how you can cultivate them to be your best every single day. Your Clifton Strengths 34 profile sets you apart from everyone else. It makes you who you are. Your profile is your talent DNA. It describes the unique talents and strengths you bring to your work, community, and relationships. Use your Clifton Strengths profile as a roadmap to discover, develop, and realize your infinite potential.
So Albert Einstein said that everybody is a genius because everybody has talent. So everybody has the capacity to be a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. So by now you will have gathered that Gallup's research shows don't focus on what people can't do or what their weaknesses are, but focus on their strengths. That is their uniqueness, which is their power. So this slide just quickly discusses the 5 C's to a team success. So what is important is that everybody has a common purpose and is connected to that common purpose. So obviously everybody must know the common purpose so that they can be connected to it. And then communication obviously is an important element to a team success. Collaboration, which we've discussed briefly when it comes to collaborating with other team members, partnering with them, and then celebrating individual strengths and team successes. So you can see how a knowledge of individual strengths as well as the combined strengths of the team can help us to address these 5 C's to a team success. I'd like to talk for a few minutes about the manager of the team, because Gallup's research shows that the manager probably has the single most important role in the organization. In fact, they have a disproportionate impact on the organization. Here's an interesting statistic. Gallup's research shows that 70% of the variance in team engagement is determined solely by the manager. What a powerful impact the manager has on the team. Yes, the managers or the team's performance, their engagement, their productivity is affected by the manager to the extent of 70%. So to build a strengths-based team, we have to start with the manager, because if the manager is, even if he's a good manager, that team is unlikely to become a strengths-based team. He has to be a great manager. The manager's role is, in fact, to help each team member to use their talents to improve performance and focus on the organization's goals and customers' needs. In fact, Gallup's research shows that globally, 24% of employees are actively disengaged. And teams with low engagement and poor managers are obviously less productive, less profitable, and less likely to be loyal. This lack of loyalty to the company can cause turnover, which can cost businesses approximately 1.5 times the annual salary of every person who quits. So it's a very high cost to the company if employees leave because of the manager. Managers who don't know how to meet the engagement needs of their team become a barrier to employee, team, and company performance. And a disturbingly high percentage of managers around the world are not meeting the needs of the employees. Actively disengaged employees at 24% outnumber engaged employees at 13%. So that's nearly 2 to 1, according to Gallup. Thus implying that at the global level, work is more often a source of frustration than fulfillment. So we can see the importance of the role of the manager in the team. Yes, when teams are highly engaged, if you look at this slide, you can quickly see the benefits of the effect of a great manager whose team is highly engaged. There's increased productivity and profitability and well-being. Things like absenteeism and turnover, shrinkage, all decrease. Safety incidents, quality, all the defects in quality all decrease as a result of a highly engaged business unit. So leaders and organizations want to make sure that the managers that they have looking after their teams, managing their teams, are great managers, that they have most of these attributes and skills that you see outlined here. One of them that's mentioned here is being adept at having meaningful conversations. And we're going to dive a little bit more into the importance of being able to do that. So here's something that Gallup recommend for a manager to be a great manager. This is a key takeaway. Managers should have at least one meaningful conversation with each employee per week. Now, I know I've worked with several teams, and when we discuss this suggestion by Gallup, the first thing that the managers say, where do I find time to do that? Well, it's actually it's a priority. This managers have to make the time to have one meaningful conversation with each employee per week. 80% of employees who report receiving meaningful feedback in the past week are engaged. 16% of employees say the last conversation with their manager was extremely meaningful. So not many employees view the conversations their managers have with them as being meaningful. So let's talk for a little bit about what is a meaningful conversation. So great managers, according to Gallup, research indicates that, first of all, okay, I've shared that with you. 16% of employees reported their last conversation was meaningful. And this statistic highlights a significant gap in communication that can affect team morale and productivity. Meaningful conversations are characterized by recognition, goal setting, and a focus on individual strengths rather than merely discussing weaknesses or tasks. The benefits of having such a weekly conversation include increased engagement, stronger relationships, and enhanced performance. So how do great managers conduct meaningful conversations? First of all, they make sure that they set aside time. They schedule time. Gallup suggests 15 to 30 minutes each week for a one-on-one discussion. And this ensures that the conversation is regular and focused because it's scheduled. Then also great managers in their conversations, they focus on strengths. They tailor their conversations around the strengths and that can unlock potential and improve performance. They encourage open dialogue. They create an environment where employees feel safe sharing ideas and concerns. They ask open-ended questions about their current projects and any obstacles they may be facing. So they ask the employee, how's it going with your goals that you're working on? Do you have any challenges? Do you need any help? Then they also provide constructive feedback. They balance praise with constructive criticism. And employees should leave the conversation feeling recognized for their contributions while also understanding areas for improvement. So that's just a little bit of information about the importance of having a weekly conversation with your employees on an informal basis. In fact, this next slide shows 5 conversations that Gallup suggests managers should have with their teams. We don't have time to go into all 5, but the second one, the quick connect, that's the weekly one where it helps a manager and an employee stay connected with work that is occurring in the short term. So the purpose of this brief informal meeting with the employee is to stay connected with work in the short term, to stay informed about the employee's work, to determine barriers to performance, to identify successes and provide recognition, and to define your involvement in improving performance. So again, we can see that the focus is not on what's wrong with you. It's on what's right with you, what's going well, and giving recognition and appreciation for that. Here's an interesting statistic by Gallup. 3 times as many people left their job in 2022 due to engagement and well-being reasons versus better pay and benefits. So employees are leaving their jobs not because of pay and benefits, because they don't feel engaged, they don't feel that their well-being at the organization is being looked after. Imagine if that once a week conversation with the manager took place, how that statistic would change. Here's something interesting. If you don't coach them, in other words, if you don't have that weekly conversation with them, someone else will, because 36% of voluntarily exiting employees say that their manager or organization could have done something to prevent them from leaving their job. 49% say that in the 3 months before they left, neither their manager nor any other leader spoke with them about their job satisfaction or future with the organization. And remember that statistic we shared earlier about the cost of an employee leaving the company, what a tremendous cost that is to the company. So in conclusion, I just want to share with you, because obviously for an organization, for leaders to invest in strengths-based development for their teams, the big question is there a return on investment for strengths-based development? So I just want to share some evidence and success stories from leading organizations. Organizations worldwide are shifting their approach to team development, moving from a focus on fixing weaknesses to harnessing and amplifying employee strengths. This strengths-based philosophy is not just a feel-good strategy. It delivers measurable returns on investment across critical business outcomes. So I'm going to share with you some evidence and real-world success stories that illustrate the transformative impact of strengths-based team development. So the data shows the following measurable business outcomes. When it comes to sales, teams that receive strengths-based interventions saw sales increase by 10 to 19% compared to teams that did not. Profits rose by 14 to 29% in organizations adopting strengths-based practices. Customer engagement, these organizations experienced 3 to 7% higher customer engagement. Employee engagement, teams focusing on strengths reported a 9 to 15% increase in engaged employees. Employees who strongly agree that their manager focuses on their strengths are 6 times more likely to be engaged at work. What about turnover? Strengths-based interventions led to a 6 to 16% lower turnover in low turnover organizations and led to a 26 to 72% lower turnover in high turnover organizations. And finally, when it comes to safety, there were 22 to 59% fewer safety incidents in teams using strengths-based approaches. Let's just look at 1 or 2 success stories from leading organizations. First of all, Global's Gallup study. Gallup's landmark study of over 49,000 businesses in 45 countries and 22 industries found that 90% of work groups using strengths-based development improved or maintained performance across key metrics, including sales, profit, and engagement. This large-scale evidence demonstrates the universal applicability and effectiveness of the approach. Employee engagement and retention. Organizations using strengths-based development report not only higher engagement but also significant cost savings. For example, a study group of companies using strengths-based development outperformed control groups in employee engagement and realized more than $1 million in increased annual productivity for every 1,000 employees. And when it comes to enhanced collaboration and innovation, teams that understand and appreciate each other's strengths collaborate more effectively, communicate better, and innovate more consistently. Clifton Strengths, a widely used strengths assessment, has helped organizations create environments where team members contribute at their best, leading to greater creativity and problem solving. Finally, I'd just like to show you a brief, short 3-minute video of some of the work I've done working with teams in strengths-based development.
One of the biggest challenges facing managers and their teams today is managing performance, getting the best out of their team. The solution to developing a winning team lies in the extensive research done by Gallup over more than 5 decades. Their research verifies that individuals and teams who perform at their best are those who recognize their strengths and have opportunity to work with them every single day. As a Gallup-Certified strengths coach, I help managers and their teams to identify their own unique strengths using Gallup's online assessment for this purpose. Thereafter, we have several sessions with the team where I help the team to understand, first of all, as individuals, their own unique strengths that they bring to the team, as well as an appreciation for the different strengths that their team members contribute to the team. Armed with an appreciation of their own unique individual strengths, I help the team to develop a strengths-based culture where the focus is on working with our strengths and managing our weaknesses using specific strategies. The team learns how to aim their collective individual strengths at the common goals and objectives of the team. A strengths-based team is much more engaged and almost always delivers near-perfect results. The Strengths Coaching Program is interactive, engaging, participative and constructive, since the entire focus is on each one's strengths, leaving team members feeling engaged, empowered and positive about their contribution to the team. If these benefits are what your team is looking for, I can help your team to develop into a winning team. If you want your team to score, call me today to help create that winning streak for your team.
So the benefits of strengths-based development, very quickly and finally, people have higher levels of energy and vitality, more likely to achieve their goals, increased confidence, they perform better at work, they have less stress, more engaged at work, more effective at developing themselves and growing as individuals. Strengths-based teams are more efficient, act with more confidence and direction and hope, and are more productive. So I thank you very much. My contact details are on the screen. The website address is www.tsabusinessschool.co.za. There's many blog articles and podcasts that you can read or listen to that have to do with high-performing teams and covers many of the aspects that I've had the privilege to share with you this evening. And I will now stop my screen share and hand back over to Titus.
But wow. Yeah, my goodness. Yeah, I think so many triggers as you're speaking, and positive triggers for that matter. And because the more you spoke, the more it just kept dawning to my mind to say, look, I wonder how many leaders and managers are getting this kind of information, because everywhere people complain about or are struggling with achieving results, but very few are actually focusing on developing their teams to achieve those results. It's sort of like a lashing strategy. I'm gonna warn you, I'm gonna threaten you as a team member. I'm gonna tell you about cutting your pay. I'm gonna tell you about, cutting some benefits. I'm gonna tell you about the possibility of firing you or suspending you if you're not getting the results. But what you just spoke about is largely on developing the team, looking into their strength. What can they do? How can these different strengths work together to produce the best for the team? And I think it's essential and vital information that you've just shared with us tonight. So thank you so very much for that. I'm going to give this opportunity and open up to anyone who has a question or comment. Just show me by lifting up of your hand. Oh, yeah, you can just say, look, I have a question. Or you can just go straight and unmute your mic and ask, and ask that question. And then Eberhard can be able to help us. If you have a question or comment, please feel free to let me know, and you'll just go ahead and ask or make your comment in the meantime. And as they are preparing to ask the question, I have a question. Actually, I have a lot of questions, but I want to ask there's this question that I want to start with. And you've been working with teams and within teams for a number of years. And I want to ask this question because you just gave a very hopeful and hope-inspiring presentation on strength-based training. And my question is this. With all the teams that you've worked with and that you've had an encounter with, do you think there's a team that is not fixable? Do you think that there's a team that It's just beyond a point of coming together and actually getting back in and produce the results that is supposed to produce? Or is it that there's always hope for every team that is out there? Because I'm sure some of the leaders here are dealing with some teams they're frustrated and they're wondering, gosh, maybe I just need a whole new team. Maybe I just need to fire everyone and, you know, hire somebody new. So that is a serious question to say, is there a team that cannot be fixed? Or these principles that you've just shared, if applied properly, would they work on any team?
Thanks for the question, Amazement. It's a good question. Interesting question. So one of my top 10 strengths is a strength called positivity. So I'm inclined to always look at the positive side and be hopeful. And I do believe that any team is fixable, but I do think that a lot does depend on the manager or the leader in the organization. Um, because if they don't buy into it, it's going to be very difficult to have a team that can thrive. So for a team to thrive, the leaders of the organization, they need to thrive. And if the leaders thrive, then the teams that they look after can thrive. So I think as long as there's buy-in from leaders and managers, then any team is fixable.
Um, there's hope for us. There's hope for us. Yes. Yeah, Dr. Rwani, go ahead. What's your question?
Okay, I have a question. Thank you so much for the presentation, Mr. Niklaus.
Welcome.
You mentioned something very important. At some point, you said one of the feedback that you got from the teams you were working with was a lady who was thanking you for creating a psychologically safe environment for the real information to come out, for people to really say how they feel and create a point for people to connect. As a leader, how can I create a psychologically safe environment for people to speak, especially if I'm working with people who have been treated in a way that discouraged communication, discouraged your own opinions, just do the work and we don't want to hear what you're saying. So, how can a leader now start to cultivate that psychologically safe environment to invite people to actually open up about who they are, their strengths, and the challenges that they've faced in the past in the organization?
A great question. Thank you. Um, Going back to this, if I can call it a toxic and dysfunctional team that I met in Cape Town, um, to get from that point to where the manager was able to tell me that um, what she did in terms of they felt that they could safely speak and communicate openly. What enabled that to happen was the very fact that the strengths-based development program, the entire focus throughout is on what's right with people and not what's wrong with people. We've all got weaknesses, we've all got strengths. The strengths-based development program uh, encourages everybody to stop fixating on their own weaknesses as well as the weaknesses of others. It's like a mind shift that we have to adopt to become a strengths-based team. Is we've got to lead with a positive intent. We've got to always think about what's right with others, not what's wrong with them. And when others appreciate that they are being looked at for their contribution as a valuable team member, what they bring to the team, and that they are valued and appreciated, um, they now feel safe to communicate because everybody on the team is only focused on strengths, on what's right with me and what's right with others. And suddenly everybody is happy to communicate because now it's safe to do so. Nobody's gonna focus on my weaknesses and what's wrong with me, and I'm going to do the same for others. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, it does.
Welcome.
Yes. Just want to say that welcome to Shinadi, having joined us for the very first time and saying that this information was or this session was very informative. If there's anyone who has a question and comment, please feel free to lift up your hand and just say hi. I have a question or a comment, and then we'll point and we'll give you an opportunity to do so. I'm just gonna pause for a second there to allow you to lift up your hand and or to unmute your mic and say a question or a comment while I prepare for my next set of questions. All right. As everyone is still preparing, I have a question, another question, and I need to ask this because I think in your experience, right, coaching leaders, what is the most common leadership blind spot that hinders team effectiveness? What is the most common leadership blind spot? As you said, we lead from strength and we have these different, um, our strength drive us to lead a certain way. So what is that most common leadership blind spot that you find that it hinders team effectiveness, and it's on the leader's side, but it hinders the team effectiveness. And what that blind spot, how can it be addressed?
Yeah, look, there's many blind spots that can exist. In fact, when we talk to teams and individuals about their strengths, we also remind them that in fact every strength has got a potential blind spot. So there's many blind spots, but one sort of common blind spot that I come across with some leaders is their their perception or their belief that as the manager and the leader, as the leader, that they can rely and trust on their own experience and knowledge, and that they don't really need input from the team. The team must just follow their lead and listen to them, and so the maybe I'm talking about people that are more sort of controlling, and they don't want to involve team members. The team members must just do as I say, or else the consequences will be such and such. So a lack of inclusiveness, not including team members to give their opinions, to contribute, to share input into the decisions that need to be made in the company. I think that's perhaps one of the more common blind spots that I come across. But there are many others.
Yeah, I think that's where then the issue of constant feedback and allowing yourself as a leader to be put in a position where you take feedback from the people that you lead. And
Yeah.
yeah, that needs some level of confidence. That needs some level of confidence. And therefore it will take me to my last question that says, what daily practices or habits would you recommend to leaders who want to consistently show up for their teams at a high level? What daily practices or habits would you recommend to leaders who want to consistently show up for their teams at a high level?
So I would say that I have a document about the seven expectation for leaders. So I'm going to use this to answer your question. What leaders should be focused on is building relationships, so establishing connections with others to build trust, to share ideas. Secondly, to develop people. They must help others become more effective by developing their strengths and providing clear expectations. Lead change, recognizing that change is essential. They must set goals for change and lead purposeful efforts to adapt work that aligns with the stated vision. They need to inspire others, so encouraging others through positivity, vision, confidence, challenge, and recognition. Something else leaders have to do is think critically. So seek information, critically evaluate the information, apply the knowledge gained, and solve problems. Remember those 5 C's. One of them was communicate. So listen, share information concisely and with purpose, and be open to hearing opinions. And finally, create accountability. So identify the consequences of actions and hold both yourself and others responsible for performance. So that's probably more than what you wanted to hear, but I thought it's maybe a good opportunity just to share the 7 expectations for leaders. So if every day they can be aware of those 7 expectations that are expected of them to be great leaders, then I think that they will show up for the team.
Most definitely, most definitely. I like how you ended it off with the issue of accountability. The issue of accountability.
Yeah.
I think that's a powerful key. Um, yes, with the absence of any question or comment from the floor.
May I just make one little comment?
Yes, Mr. Namatanda.
There's a saying that says, teamwork makes the dream work. Meaning, if you engage your team, you will achieve your objective and vision of the company easily. You've got so much asset within you. Remember, there are leaders without titles within your team. And the duty of the leader is to inspire them and influence them. Leadership is all about influence. When people are influenced and recognized, they give their all. Thank you.
Powerful. Definitely, most definitely. Teamwork makes the dream work. As we close it off, Nicholas, I want to ask you to say if you had to leave leaders with one core principle for building a team that truly thrives, not just for a season, but for the long haul, what would it be? I can see it's making you think deep.
I'm gonna answer very simply. Focus on strengths. Focus on strengths, your own strengths, and the strengths of your team members. Um, Whoever your team is, if you're part of the exco, if you're part of another team, at whatever level you are a manager or a leader, focus on strengths, your own strengths, because focusing on your own strengths will help you to show up better as a leader and as a manager, and focusing on the strengths of the people that are in your team will help you to to play to their strengths, to help them to thrive in their environment because they are able to do what they love doing. It energizes them. It will make them feel engaged. It will make them feel like waking up in the morning and looking forward to coming to work. Focus on strengths.
Focus on strength. I think, yeah, that's the key for tonight. And yes, you spoke earlier when you began that you spoke of 2 books, the one that's on Amazon, and you spoke on the ebook that you said it's available for download. Is it available for everyone that's in attendance tonight? Could it be
Yes.
available? And if so,
Yes.
how would you make it available? Are you going to send a link onto the chat room so that people can be able to download it? And if so, I'm sure that you will share the link, the copy with me that I can distribute to those who could not download it via the chat room option. But otherwise, thank you so
Yes.
much. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone that has joined us tonight. I'm sure there's just so much to digest and so much to think. And I'm excited about the Success Academy. I'm looking forward. I hope to visit your offices soon and get to see what you do at TSA Business School. And yeah, because what you have shared tonight is really, really an eye-opener to many of us who are leading in different spaces. So thank you so much, Eberhard.
Amazement, thank you for the opportunity. In the chat, I've put the website address where if you go to the sales button on the website address, the sales courses, there you will see the book, the sales ebook that you can download for free. Otherwise, I've also put my email address. If you want me to send you the exact link to that page, just send me an email and I'll gladly assist you And afterwards, I'll also give you the link, Amazement, so that you can share it with others that were not able to join us tonight. They're more than welcome to go and download the ebook.
Wow. Thank you so much. And thank you for the ebook as well. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of searches for the Clifton strength-based approach, and yeah, and the Gallup strength approach as well. But yeah, hopefully you're going to get some calls as well, because what you do is needed in so many teams across the country and beyond. So looking forward to that. Otherwise, to everyone as a leader, I'm wishing you all a wonderful week, and please keep unfolding your leadership capacity. I love you and I appreciate you, and I'm wishing you greatness only.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.